Bitcoin security, like most blockchains, is based on proof-of-work mining, which costs specialized equipment and electricity and technical know-how. Ethereum is also proof-of-work mining, but they have plans to become proof-of-stake in the next few updates in these coming months. Still, not everyone understands proof-of-work mining for new tokens versus proof-of-stake forging of new tokens. And the proof-of-stake concepts fold into the blockchains and these different blockchains, as some of them have masternodes, which provide very specialized blockchain powers for digital token creation, cool usages, and decision voting for specific blockchain governance. So in this video, we're going to talk about and review proof-of-work, proof-of-stake, and masternodes such as Dash and PIVX. All that and more, let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together, welcome to Minting Coins. So it's been, a rough ride the past couple days, and now this sort of exciting bounce as those of us in the blockchain and cryptocurrency community recognize that every few months, a few times a year, China bans cryptocurrency or some nation is doing something to make it illegal, causing huge market downturns and corrections inside the space. This has happened over and over again for Bitcoin and even other ICOs and cryptocurrencies. And now we're, have seen it again yesterday with this major announcement coming out of China. It's interesting, as we saw in the last video, that China had banned all ICOs after visiting San Francisco, and then also recognizing that China wants to make their own ICO as well. And today when we take a peek at the market, we're seeing that there is green across the board, and cryptocurrencies are kicking up and moving in the direction that is following essentially Moore's law, especially when we look at Bitcoin and the Bitcoin token and the Bitcoin blockchain. But also there's a lot going on with these different cryptocurrencies. We have Ethereum coming up with the Metropolis update, and when that happens, it's going to be, I believe, a combination of two different hard forks planned, and with that they're going to be switching over to a proof of stake mining. And so what is proof of stake, what is proof of work, and how does all of this relate to masternodes, where people are not just holding cryptocurrency and watching the value of their cryptocurrencies go up in terms of its value to USD and its value in terms of BTC Bitcoin, but they're also minting new coins, forging new coins, and just creating more from the existing pile that they already have. So with all that being said, let's take a look at the market. Let's go over all of this news and let's discuss. All right, so starting over here at coinmarketcap.com, taking a look at the market roundup, we have 865 different currencies. 865 different cryptocurrencies out there, and with $154 billion market cap and $7.5 billion traded in the past 24 hours. So definitely a healthy amount traded. Market cap definitely at a healthy, stable level, over $150 billion. We have our Bitcoin dominance, BTC dominance, at 47%, in between that 45 and 50%, where we've seen it hover practically throughout the entire summer. We've seen it, touch upon that 50%, not really less than 40% maybe, and usually around 45 to 50, and so it's definitely where we're expecting to see it. Bitcoin, $4,400, dropping down to around $4,000. People saw huge buying opportunities because while some people expect that Bitcoin is going to go to zero, I think that the majority of everyone else is really seeing a single direction that this technology is bringing the world. Just like all the naysayers of the internet and people using websites to purchase shoes and clothing and not believing in that technology, we have a lot of people who still don't believe in the blockchain technology that is upon us. So what else do we have here? Just green across the board. Everything's doing really great, including Neo, Omizigo. I'm having a hard time pronouncing that. Omizigo. Up 24% nearly. Neo was up yesterday, but OMG token is up significantly today. The OMG token based on Ethereum. If you're a big believer in Ethereum, if you think Ethereum is going to continue its network effect up, then that probably leads you to think that the OMG token is going to be doing very, very well for them. It's also half the cost of Neo, and it's just, I guess you want to purchase the Neo if you wanted to place a bet or hedge a bet against Ethereum. But if you're going to be moving with Ethereum, you know, the website shows Vitalik Buterin and Joseph Poon and all those big cats on the advisory board for OMG. So it looks like a very interesting promise and opportunity for the world. And they are definitely positioning the OMG token to stand outside and away from all of the shenanigans that are coming out of China by positioning the OMG token, and Neo is doing the same thing, positioning themselves as a nonprofit, open source, distributed technology, which makes them not a company holding a token, asset, or a security. It's the workarounds and how they present the information. All right, so turning into today's news and getting right into the topics of what is proof of work, what is proof of stake, starting with going over the proof of work concepts and topics. So we have proof of work, and so generally proof of work is a system that requires a amount of energy, amount of resources to be put into figuring out these mathematical calculations. Computers that are resources, physical hardware, and electricity costs that are being used for computational power. And so this idea of proof of work first came out in 2004 by someone by the name of Hal Finney. And then in 2009, Bitcoin became the first widely adopted application of Finney's idea, of this proof of work idea. So with the proof of work concept and with Bitcoin, there's the ledger that has all of the different transactions that have ever existed and are seeking to exist on the blockchain. And the process of adding to the blockchain is mining the proof of work, where when the transactions are coming in, to prove that these transactions are valid, these transactions need to be hashed with the computational power, with the essentially giant calculators that are doing the math to figure out if everything checks out. And so with the process of generating these answers, these hashes from the mining inside the network, it's generally trivial for a normal computer to hash one of these hashes. But what happens is that the proof of work concept inside Bitcoin has a difficulty level. And this difficulty level adds on to the complexity of how simple it is, how many options there are for the solution to be found. And so setting this difficulty level with this proof of work that's using electricity and resources is creating it so there's a target that on average mathematically this number should get found about every 10 minutes. And now if someone wanted to change what the blockchain said and to go back on this information, that the user would have to, even if they wanted to change a very tiny amount, that they would have to have so much computational power to go against all the other existing power that is added together across the world that is focused on decentralizing and distributing the ledger that is the most valid that meets the Bitcoin requirements. And so that is simply the proof of work. This is a competitive process. It makes it very difficult for a user or a pool to monopolize all of the computational power, since the amount of machinery that you would need and the amount of electricity that you would need to figure out and solve all of these different blocks all in a row, to get so many of them correct in a row, and then to rewrite those transactions would just be extremely difficult, putting it lightly. And so that's proof of work. And so, contrasting proof of work to proof of stake, we have proof of stake. And so the proof of stake concept is that a person can mine or validate block transactions according to how many coins they hold, not how much electricity they have access to or how much equipment that they can purchase. So the first cryptocurrency to adopt the proof of stake method was a pure coin, apparently. And this was created as an alternative to the proof of work concept that Bitcoin is using. And so, as we just discussed, the mining requires a great deal of computational power, and this computing power translates to a high amount of electricity that's required. And in 2015, it was actually estimated that one Bitcoin transaction required the amount of electricity needed to power 1.5 American homes, which is probably a lot of electricity usage, per day. So each transaction is powering 1.5 homes in America, and if there's hundreds of transactions happening every day, it's a lot of electricity that's being used for all that. And that is only going to increase as the adoption of Bitcoin increases as well. So this part in blue here, that the proof of stake, abbreviated POS, seeks to address this issue by attributing mining power to the proportion of coins held by the miner or the forger or the holder of the coins who is engaging in this proof of stake activity. In this way, instead of utilizing energy to answer the proof of work puzzles, the proof of stake miner is limited to mining a percentage of the transactions that is reflective for your own, his or her own ownership stake. So for instance, a miner who owns 3% of the particular blockchain would theoretically make 3% of the rewards for all the coins that are dedicated to this proof of stake concept, that are a part of this network, that are mining these coins, and then you would receive a proportion of the reward, not just by the amount of electricity and the amount of power mathematically to that proportion, but instead by the proportion of how many tokens, how many coins that you own. So with the previous example, with the proof of work and the mining and the electricity system, that is susceptible to what is known as the tragedy of the commons, potentially. And so the tragedy of the commons refers to a point in the future when there will be fewer Bitcoin miners available due to no block rewards from mining and from not enough fees inside the transactions to support the miners who are mining. And so this tragedy of the commons is not just a potential concern for Bitcoin, but this is a potential concern for every single proof of work algorithm out there. It's one of the reasons why Ethereum is going to be moving to proof of stake and including a major proof of stake component on the Ethereum blockchain. And this is also a huge risk for Bitcoin Cash as well, the tragedy of the commons, that there being not enough miners to mine Bitcoin Cash because of how much the tokens are worth, especially when a halving happens for Bitcoin Cash. If there's fewer tokens available, and if the value per token does not go up substantially, especially if they're predicting the fees will go down, then there could be the tragedy of the commons where Bitcoin Cash loses all of their Bitcoin miners as well, potentially. And so with fewer miners mining any particular coin, the network becomes more vulnerable to that 51% attack because there's fewer miners making up the total mining in the proof of work system. Then someone who puts a lot of resources and electricity can have a greater proportion to meet that 51% or beyond, so they could have a greater potential at defining what the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks in a row would be. Although it'd still be very, very difficult if you don't own a super substantial portion, right? So what do we have here? So the proof of stake attacker, on the other hand, so the proof of work attacker would need 51% of all the computers mining. The proof of stake attacker would need to obtain 51% of all the cryptocurrency in order to carry out the 51% attack. And that would be very, very difficult, because it would be almost impossible to purchase the amount of cryptocurrency that you would need in order to do that. And then it would be going against your interest to do that, because then you would own so much of the cryptocurrency. If you were to make a decision like that, you would essentially be taking your own position inside the coin that you were in proof of staking. All right. So we have proof of work, and then separately from proof of work, which uses equipment, computers, and electricity, you have proof of stake. And the proof of stake is just holding coins, applying them into the blockchain system, and then receiving a reward proportional to the amount of tokens that you hold inside that network. And so there's something that's related to the proof of stake, and that's called a masternode. And so let's talk about the masternodes. And so we have this article over here from Merkle, and what is a masternode? So the concept of a masternode started becoming more and more popular with Dash. Started gaining a lot of popularity because everyone talking about Dash's masternodes, and Dash touting their masternode as an advantage over Bitcoin BTC, because the Dash masternode is a way for Dash to have greater governance over the Dash blockchain, whereas Bitcoin doesn't have a strong way for Bitcoin to conduct governance for themselves, as we've seen over the whole fiasco of the upgrading situation. And so the operators of these masternodes receive monetary rewards for running their masternodes. But in order to do this, they need to provide a financial stake of their own, just like we were talking about with proof of stake and staking. But the difference between staking and a masternode is that with a masternode, you need to have a minimum number of coins in order to put into this node for it to function. It can't just be under the amount, it needs to be the amount required. So the Dash masternodes provide a lot of function, and the Dash masternode owners are receiving additional benefits and additional rewards. Dash specifically, you have to have 1,000 Dash in the wallet associated with the node, which in today's Dash value is very, very expensive for the average person to have a node. The average person will never have a Dash node. And moving funds out of the wallet will remove the masternode from the network, therefore removing your rewards of using that Dash node, of having that Dash node. And the wallet address will no longer be eligible for the rewards, or from the tokens being delivered, or from the benefits that the people get. And so with the rewards flowing in from virtual currency every week, this is just an incredible way for these people who are masternode operators to generate passive income. Putting 1,000 Dash as collateral, running a masternode today, again, would earn you substantial profit if you would have been able to have that position of having a masternode just a year ago. Not even a year ago, 8 months ago, 10 months ago, Dash was $10 a token. So $10 a token, to get 1,000 of these, it would have been only $10,000. But we know today's dollars, it's between $300,000 and $400,000. And so specifically looking at a Dash masternode at the dashmasternode.org webpage, the masternodes are computers that run a Dash wallet and make decisions, and they allow the abilities of instant send, coordinating the mixing of coins, voting on budgets. The masternodes for Dash have to have 1,000 Dash, a dedicated IP, able to run 24 hours a day without more than a 1-hour connection loss. And typically, the masternode operators get paid about 45% of the block reward on every block. And typically this is about 2 Dash paid to every Masternode operator every 7 days. So every 7 days, about $800. It's a pretty decent paycheck from what was potentially 10 months ago a $10,000 investment. Amazing. So 10 months ago, it was a $10,000 investment for Dash. And 10 months later, these folks are making around, $600 to $800 per week. Very interesting how this world of cryptocurrency works. And again, they get all of these services: instant send, private send, decentralized governance, evolution, payment processor like PayPal. Masternode operators are also given these very, very special voting rights. And so this is, if you're a longtime viewer of the show, then you might know this is one of the issues that we have with Dash, is that in order to vote on the Dash network, you got to have a Masternode. And in order for anyone to have a Masternode, which is one vote, you need to, at this point, have $300,000 with today's prices invested into Dash. What were those Dash prices? Yeah, so you need $332,000 to have this Dash Masternode, according to today's prices. And then that's only one vote. And so there's no way that we're going to be able to have a Dash Masternode, not unless we get 1,000 Dash or 1,001 Dash, not 1,001 Dash, but 1,000 Dash donated over this way. But very, very interesting that if you want to have a vote with Bitcoin, then all you need to do is be a node operator. Anybody, really, almost just about anybody in the world who has a decent computer, doesn't have to be a great computer, and an internet connection, can have a voting ability with Bitcoin, BTC. But with Dash, you have to have $332,000. Crazy. All right, so throwing SteemIt into our news operation over here, we have this awesome article by Mnemonic19. Go over here and give Mnemonic a follow. He or she has this post about masternodes and cryptocurrency, and I just want to skip over to this one section. That's pretty awesome. So this was 2 months ago, and there could be some coins that aren't included in this list, but which currencies have a masternode system? All right, so there's all these different coins that maybe you've recognized some of these, maybe you don't. I know I've seen the Crown coin, I've seen the Dash coin, haven't you? I've heard of Monetary Unit, and here's PIVX, which has made a lot of news. We've talked about PIVX before on this channel. A lot of major folks are talking about PIVX. Trace Mayer and Jeff Berwick talked about PIVX on the Dollar Vigilante YouTube station. There's a lot happening. PIVX is a fork of Dash. It's a uses Bitcoin code, uses Dash code, and also is now its own code, its own blockchain, has been existing for some time, and PIVX also has a masternode system. There's this other website, we have cryptonode.co. Cryptonode.co lists some of these cryptocurrency masternode earnings, and so we could see Dash in this list, PIVX, Crown, Monetary Unit, some of these others. So Dash is the number one on this list. Everyone's heard of Dash. It's a top 10 coin. PIVX is a top 100 coin. And PIVX, where is it? So PIVX is number 40 and the coinmarketcap.com. And so this is out of the coins that we see here that are in the realm of the average person being able to reach one of these coins in some realm of possibility. Dash is not on that list, being with billion-dollar market cap and over $300 a coin, requiring 10 of these. But PIVX might be, being about $3.34 a coin and only needing 10,000. $30,000 is a lot. $15,000 is a lot. Each, $3,000 is less than one Bitcoin, and we could see that this is producing $68 a month versus the PIVX, which is producing $164 a month. These are also determined by ROI. But there's two things I think about when I look at these. So Dash I exclude just because it's not feasible in order to get a Dash masternode. The rest of them, you want to I would imagine, look at a coin that has the market cap and has the standing in order for it to actually 10x or to actually 100x. And from these, PIVX has the second thing that I think most people are looking for, and that's a really strong decentralized community of hundreds and hundreds of people across the world who are just passionate about the PIVX token and the PIVX community. So PIVX seems to be a really interesting opportunity when I think about and when I see these different Masternode cryptocurrencies that are existing out there. And then, when we click into PIVX, we could see that the number of Masternode operators has actually been increasing over the past week or so at least. So very, very interesting to definitely see this on the rise. And when you look at the dip that just happened and the few people who know about this, who want to get into creating passive income with cryptocurrency, you can create passive income with SteemIt, and you can create passive income with day trading, I suppose, even though it's very, very risky. You can also create passive income with these Masternodes, and so a lot of people are looking into this. And so I was diving a little bit deeper into this, and so then we have this this rewards calculator. And so if you put in the 10,000 PIVX balance in this rewards calculator, what's really interesting is that PIVX is, I don't think they have any mining. There's zero mining with PIVX. It's 100%, and this makes it really, really interesting. It's 100% proof of stake based. So if you have 1 PIVX, or if you have 9,000 PIVX, or if you have 10,001 PIVX, it doesn't matter. Any amount of PIVX that you have, you can put into staking, and instantly, within so many confirmations and so many days waiting, be staking your PIVX and be earning a return on your PIVX token investment. And at the same time, they have these the Masternodes, where if you have 10,000 PIVX, which at current prices is $36,000, and so this is up about $6,000 or $7,000 in the past 24 hours. But with this, so you can have a Masternode, and the way that I understand this is that right now a Masternode will earn you 44.5 PIVX per month, which is currently about $161 per month, or you can have the same 10,000 PIVX balance staking instead of as a Masternode, and it's going to earn you actually more right now staking it, 48 PIVX per month. And so what's going on here is that where the Dash system only has the Masternodes, the Masternodes are receiving rewards and the Masternodes are voting. Over here, even if you don't have the full 10,000, you're still making a return on that money until you reach that $10,000 floor. And then you can choose if you want to stake it or if you want to have a Masternode. And so what they're doing here essentially is that they're keeping a balance where sometimes the Masternode is more sometimes the Masternode is more profitable, sometimes the staking is more profitable, to keep the balance between the people who are staking coins and the people who have Masternodes, so there isn't necessarily one group over the other that has this huge advantage over everybody else. It's very, very interesting, and not just for so many other reasons, but because this allows anybody to get into getting a return on their investment if they have 1 or 9,000 or over 10,000 PIVX. And so with the PIVX Masternode, again, these are Masternodes that are running the same software on the same blockchain, but they're just simply providing extra services to the network. They're providing services in PIVX such as privacy, such as instant transactions, such as decentralized governance and budgeting systems, and most importantly for the Masternodes, the ability for it to have proposal and immutable proposal and voting systems. And so this is another way, just like the Dash, to have the passive income of a Masternode minus the costs of running the node itself. And this can be really, really simple for anybody as well. So you can run this on a sort of a normal computer with some technical know-how and figure out how to set it up. Maybe that's in your realm of opportunity, but if it isn't, then there are services that will help you set this up for you. And so there's this one example here, mymasternode.com, where this person charges $15 a month to host your Masternode, and they have a really easy form that allows you to figure out how to set it up and how to order it. So it's this really, you know, instructional form where even someone that's not familiar with you know, setting things up technically could probably get themselves, you know, set up enough so that they could have this opportunity for themselves. Very, very interesting. You know, so here we have PIVX here pushing $4, and so if PIVX is $3.63 now, is it possible that PIVX could 10x to $36? Is it possible that PIVX could 10x again after that? And then would those rewards coming from, you know, operating the node increase from, you know, $161 a month to $1,500 a month, $1,600 a month? And could that go to $16,000 a month? Because how we saw Dash 10x and that trajectory, and seeing the community that's backing PIVX and seeing the services and the development that's happening with PIVX and what they've been doing over the past 6 months, it definitely is inside the realm of possibility that these coins could go up, that the value of these masternodes could increase, and that the passive income coming could actually increase as well. All right, last couple things to get through this information. I'm going to be including this link as well. This link right here is going to help you with your PIVX if you want to start staking your PIVX. This is going to be the information from this YouTuber, Bitcoin Governor, and they have this code that you need, and this is a great video that's showing you exactly what you need to know to get your wallet set up and running. And last and not least, the last interesting thing about PIVX is that PIVX isn't even listed on Poloniex. Poloniex is a major exchange. I think we all know that. PIVX is on Bittrex. It's listed on some other exchanges that are pretty popular as well, but not Poloniex. And so if you were to purchase PIVX, and then if enough people encourage Poloniex to list PIVX on their exchange, that could open up the PIVX token to additional investors who are looking for opportunities and expansion, right, in their investment portfolio. It definitely pushes it into, you know, you could definitely see the path with the building on the technology and the development and the opportunity, the value of the PIVX blockchain, where the value of PIVX can go from where it was of below $1 to $1, from $1 to $3, and from $3 it could really lift up, you know, from number 40 on CoinMarketCap to 0 or to number 1. Remains to be seen. But with that being said, that was a lot of information. I know this was a longer video than normal, talking about proof of work and mining using computers and electricity, talking about proof of stake, which is simply holding tokens and then applying those tokens into a system that's utilizing them for proof of stake mining, and how that can be done with any amount of coins that, well, it's really based on the rules of that blockchain, right? Well, with PIVX, it's any number of coins for sure, and then we understand how the PIVX also has the proof of stake and the masternodes, how we have masternodes out there. Anyone running a Dash masternode is making bank. Are you running a Dash masternode? Are you running any sort of masternode? What do you think about running a PIVX masternode? Really interesting stuff. Tap that like button, put your comments in the box below. A lot of the links for this video might be on SteemIt, so follow to our SteemIt link to get those links. We want to put less links inside YouTube, just because YouTube doesn't like it when we put links inside the descriptions. It maybe hasn't been a major problem so far, but providing you information, providing you the news, we really want to include those links. It's not easy for people to include those links, but that's how that's going to probably work moving forward. With that being said, you know, just really appreciating all the love, all the comments, all the likes. all the new subscribers who are following us over at SteemIt.com. If you haven't already done so, go make that SteemIt account. Go start participating in that community. Even if you're not making money, you're only making pennies. It's just a way to participate instead of just holding. If you're a holder, do more than hold. Find some way to make passive income. Find some way to participate in a community. Learn more about what's going on and take advantage of the opportunities that are all around us. All right. So with that being said, thanks for showing up. Tap that like button again. And until next time, I'm glad that together we're minting coins.